The sharp whistle of a distant train carried across the wide Montana fields, slicing through the crisp dawn air. Elias Carter eased his cart to a halt, his mules puffing clouds of mist. He aimed to press on toward his new land near Willow Bend, but something on the tracks ahead stopped him cold. A small bundle rested between the wooden rails. Elias's heart thudded. No soul in their right mind would linger near train tracks, not with the westbound engine due in less than an hour. He climbed down from his cart, boots grinding on the stones. His hand brushed the pistol at his waist, a reflex born of instinct. The world in 1878 was untamed, and trouble often struck unannounced. As he drew closer, the bundle stirred. A tiny hand pushed free from a ragged blanket. A faint cry followed, so soft Elias almost thought he dreamed it. "Good heavens," he murmured. He knelt slowly, pulling the blanket aside. Inside was a baby girl. Her skin felt chilled, her auburn hair peeked out in delicate strands. Her eyes, blinking up at him, were a vivid green like spring meadows. Pinned to the blanket was a tattered note. One word, scrolled in haste: abandoned. Elias's jaw tightened. His breath curled like fog in the morning cold. Whoever left her here meant for the train to end her story, a heartless, spineless act. He scanned the horizon. Endless open land. No footprints, no hoof marks. Whoever did this had vanished. The baby gave a feeble whimper. "No," Elias said softly, his voice gritty. "Not today." He lifted her gently to his chest, sharing his warmth. She felt so small, so breakable. He'd seen men fall in battle, seen blizzards claim tough ranchers in an instant, but nothing gripped his heart like holding this fragile life. "You're safe now," he whispered. "I've got you." He hurried back to his cart, settling into the seat and tucking the infant close. His plan to reach Willow Bend by dusk would wait. The nearest town, Pine Hollow, had folks who could help: a doctor, supplies, women who knew babies. He snapped the reins. "Let's get you warmed up, little one." As the cart rumbled forward, the baby gazed up at him, silent. Her trust hit him like a weight. Elias Carter wasn't used to trust. At 34, life had worn him down. Orphaned as a boy, 3 years in a harsh asylum before he broke free. A soldier, in a war that scarred his soul more than his body. A drifter moving from ranch to ranch. No roots, no kin, until now. A few hours later, Pine Hollow came into view over the hill. Timber buildings lined a dusty road. Smoke drifted from chimneys. Life here was simple, but solid, something Elias always observed from afar. He stopped outside the mercantile, climbed down carefully, and cradled the child in both arms. Heads turned as he pushed through the door. A weathered drifter with a baby wasn't an everyday sight. Jonah Reed, the storekeeper, looked up, eyes wide. "Jonah Reed, didn't think I'd see you back so soon. And what in the world?" "Someone left her on the tracks," Elias said, placing the note on the counter. "Found her this morning." Jonah's face flushed with anger. "There's evil in this world. That's downright wicked. She needs milk, softer blankets, maybe someone who knows more than me." Jonah gathered supplies swiftly. Then the bell above the door jingled. A woman stepped in, young with warm brown eyes that sparkled with life, golden hair tied neatly, strength in every step. "Miss Harper," Jonah said, "just the person we need." Leela Harper crossed to the baby, concern flashing in her gaze. "What's happened?" she asked. Elias recounted the story, trying to hide how rattled he still felt. Leela gently unwrapped the child, checking her with steady hands. "She's cold and hungry, but resilient," Leela said. Then she met Elias's eyes, her voice steady. "You saved her life." Elias didn't know how to respond. He'd just done what felt right. But Leela's look suggested not every man would have stopped. Jonah nodded toward the schoolhouse where Leela lived. "The sheriff's out till tomorrow. You two need to keep the little one safe tonight." Leela lifted the infant with ease. "I'll take her," she said, "if you can carry the supplies." Elias paused just a moment. Part of him didn't want to let the baby go, but he handed her over. Leela's calm assurance eased something in him. "She needs a name," Leela said as they walked to her small home. "We can't just call her Baby." Elias shook his head. "Not my place to decide. Whoever raises her should." Leela glanced at him. "And who's that going to be?" "I don't know," he admitted. Her sharp eyes studied him, making him stand taller, as if she saw something in him he didn't see. Inside her home, Leela warmed milk and fed the tiny girl, who drank eagerly. Elias watched, restless. An orphanage in Billings would take the child once the sheriff returned, practical but heavy. As he watched Leela with the baby, his chest tightened. "What'll happen to her?" he asked. Leela sighed. "That's for the sheriff to decide." "And fate," Elias added. He stepped closer, voice low. "No child should feel cast aside." Leela met his gaze, really saw him. "I think you know that better than anyone." The fire popped in the quiet room, the baby settled in Leela's arms, warm and fed, and Elias Carter, who had spent his life alone, felt something new take root, a purpose, a choice, a road he never saw coming. It all started on a cold stretch of tracks where a tiny life waited for someone to care. Morning light slipped through the schoolhouse windows as Elias returned at dawn. Sleep had dodged him, his dreams haunted by train whistles and a baby's cry. Leela opened the door, already dressed for teaching, her golden hair pinned neatly, her face calm but eerie. "Thanks for coming," she said. "Mira just woke up." Mira! The name Leela gave her, it meant light. Elias tried the name in his mind. It fit. He stepped inside, eyes drawn to the cradle. Mira kicked her tiny feet, making a soft coo like she knew him. That small sound struck deep. "She's fed," Lila said. "Bottles are ready. You just need to warm them. Instructions are there." Elias nodded, nerves twisting. He could handle mules, not infants. But Lila's confidence in him mattered more than he expected. She paused before heading to her classroom. "If you need me, I'm right through that door." After she left, the room grew quiet except for Mira's little noises. Elias picked her up, clumsy. "Well now," he murmured, "just you and me, kid." He'd faced war, storms, and solitude, but this tiny girl made him feel more uncertain than anything. Feeding her went okay until the bottle tipped, milk dribbling down her chin. Changing her was a mess. He muttered a curse, earning a wail from Mira. All right, I'm figuring it out," he said, flustered. Pacing the room to calm her, he started talking without thinking. "Got a place near Willow Bend," he told her. "Good soil, clear creek. Cabin's rough, but it's peaceful, safer than those tracks." Mira's cries softened. She blinked up, eyes bright and trusting. "You like it there?" he said softly. "Got mules, and it could be home." The word felt strange. He'd chased belonging forever. Maybe, just maybe, he'd found it in her. By the way, I'm wondering, where are you all tuning in from? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear where this tale's taking you. When Lila returned at noon, she looked surprised to see Mira calm in Elias's arms. "You two seem to get each other," she said, her smile warming him more than the fire. "We made a deal," Elias said, trying to sound light. Lila laughed, a soft, bright sound that made his heart skip. But the moment broke. A sharp knock sounded. Sheriff Lawson stepped in, boots heavy on the floor. He listened to Elias's story, frowning at the cruel note. "No reports of a missing child means no one's coming for her." Elias braced himself. "She'll go to an orphanage in Billings. Train leaves tomorrow. They'll look after her." Mira whimpered in Lila's arms, as if sensing the words. Elias felt something crack inside. "That's it?" he asked, voice rough. "She survives being left behind just to be sent somewhere bleak and unfamiliar?" "That's the law," the sheriff said. Elias's voice tightened. "What if someone here wanted to keep her?" The room stilled. "You're offering?" Lawson asked, brow raised. Elias swallowed. The words had slipped out, but they came from somewhere deep. "I might be," he said. "She deserves better than a bunk in a crowded room." Lila stepped closer. "He's right. She needs a home, not a place to be kept." Lawson studied them. As the one who found her, you've got first claim, Carter, but that's a big responsibility. Legal papers. Judge comes through in a month. A month? Elias thought. The homestead needed work. Winter was closing in. He couldn't raise a newborn alone. Lila spoke up. Mira can stay with me in Pine Hollow till then. I'll care for her while you fix up your place. Elias stared, floored by her kindness. I can't ask that of you. You didn't, Lila replied softly. I offered. Sheriff Lawson tipped his hat. Your call, Carter. Train leaves at 9. Tell me by then. When the sheriff left, silence settled heavy. Lila rocked Mira as Elias stared at the floor, torn between fear and hope. You don't have to do this, Lila said gently. No one would judge you. I would, Elias whispered. Lila looked at him, understanding in her eyes. Taking her in makes you a father, Elias. That's no small step. I know, he said, meeting her gaze. But I can't let her go. I care already. Lila's voice trembled. She was left with a word meant to break her. Abandoned. But you see her value. Elias stepped closer. She needs someone, and I need... He stopped, heart too full for words. Lila filled the quiet with hope. If you choose her, you won't be alone. I'll help as long as she needs. Elias exhaled, a decision sinking into his core. I want her to stay. I want to be her family. Lila smiled, tears shining. Then tomorrow you tell the sheriff Mira's yours. Elias looked at the baby, so small, once discarded, now cherished. He'd wandered his whole life, never belonging. But here, holding this tiny girl, he'd found his reason to stay. Morning came fast. Frost coated the windows as Elias and Lila stood in the schoolhouse. Mira nestled between them. Elias's heart pounded like hooves on packed earth. This was the day everything changed. Sheriff Lawson arrived, looking Elias square in the eyes. Well, Elias, Tran's leaving soon. What's your answer? Elias didn't waver. She stays with me. I'll raise her. She's mine now. Lila's breath hitched with relief. The sheriff nodded, respect in his gaze. All right, you're her guardian until the papers are done next month. Do right by her. Elias held Mira tighter. I will. Lila smiled through tears. Mira cooed softly, unaware she'd gained a family. Within 2 weeks, Lila arranged time away from teaching to travel with Elias to his homestead. They packed supplies, bid Pine Hollow farewell, and set off in his cart. Lila held Mira close, watching the open land stretch beneath them. You're sure about this? Elias asked quietly as they rode. Lila looked at him, voice firm. There's nowhere I'd rather be. By dusk, they reached Elias's land. A modest cabin stood in a valley framed by tall cedars. Smoke from the chimney promised warmth and home. Lila stepped down, taking in the place with quiet awe. It's serene here, she said. Elias helped her inside. He'd scrubbed every corner, patched the walls, fixed the roof. He'd even built a small cradle for Mira. The air smelled of fresh timber and possibility. That night, the three sat by the fire. Mira slept in her cradle, her tiny breaths even. Lila looked at Elias, firelight dancing on her face. You did all this for her, she whispered. For her, he said, and maybe for us. Lila's eyes softened. Elias reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her cheek. The moment held, warm, delicate, full of hope. Lila didn't pull away. As days became weeks, a new life formed. Elias worked the land while Lila cared for Mira and planned to teach children in Willow Bend. Evenings brought shared meals, laughter, and the quiet rhythm of family. Something deeper grew between them. One snowy night, after Mira slept, Lila sat beside Elias by the fire. Her voice was soft, heart open. I never thought I'd find a future out here, she said, but now I can't imagine leaving. Elias took her hands, fear and hope tangling in his voice. Lila, stay, not just for now, stay with us. Be Mira's mother, be my wife. Tears filled Lila's eyes. Yes, she whispered, with all my heart, yes. They wed quietly, with the town preacher and a few witnesses. Lila wore a simple ribbon in her hair, and Mira giggled in Elias's arms as they spoke their vows. They became a true family. Seasons passed and love filled the homestead. Lila started her school, Elias built his ranch. Mira learned to walk on soft grass and say her first words in the cabin that held their lives. The note, the one that once called her abandoned, was tucked into the family Bible, a reminder of what she'd overcome, proof that love can rewrite even the darkest starts. 1 year later, they returned to the tracks. Autumn leaves swirled as they stood where Mira's life nearly ended. Leela took Elias's hand. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't stopped?" "No," he said firmly. "Because I did, and that's what counts." He lifted Mira, her tiny fingers clutching his coat, trusting him fully. "You were never abandoned. You were meant for us." Leela rested her head on his shoulder. "Some things," she said, "just are destined to be." Elias looked at the life he never expected. The woman who loved him, the child who saved him, the home that held them. The train whistle sounded faint in the distance, just a murmur on the wind. The tracks no longer meant loss. They marked the start of a family. A drifter, a teacher, and a girl once left behind, bound by love. Home. Safe.